Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And in this episode we're going to explore more of Imnesvale and the surrounding areas. And we're also going to do some minor quests around here. But since we've already heard about all of these killings and disappearances and the troubles that this village is facing, let's first talk to its mayor, Minister Lloyd.
Hello. I don't recognize you. You must be new to Imnesvale. Is there something I can help you with?
And of course we've met this boy Dellen in Athkatla way back, who has informed us about these troubles. And he's like, then the boy did get to the city after all. Nice. It's just so weird that they would just send this little boy all the way to Athkatla to like seek help. But anyway, let's ask more about this gruesome business.
We've had a run of killings and disappearances here as of late.
People murdered in their beds, their bodies disappearing, bodies found with their skins inside out. And of course he also informs us about the ranger protector Mirella that has vanished without a trace. And the people from the surrounding areas have been coming to Imnesvale seeking shelter or a safe haven from these dangers. And once again they're going to talk about the options. Wolves, the ogres, and the theory that Umar herself has returned. So of course, as always, feel free to pause and read in detail. He also mentions that previous adventuring group, led by Mazzy Fenton, that seems to have been unsuccessful so far. They haven't come back, and these attacks haven't stopped. So anyway, we can offer our help. And he's going to suggest to check out Mirella's cabin to the west and to look for clues in there. But we're not going to do it until later, when we're ready to actually like do this big quest. And also says that we should check up on Madolf and his group of ogres to the north. And there's just some minor goodies to pick up from here. Alright. So now let's check the inn, and on our way, actually, I've already prepared some items. We are going to recharge this Wand of the Heavens. That's really about time that we're going to do it, and also sell this plate mail finally. Since we've got so much value from pickpocketing and getting a lot of items for free, we're going to recharge this wand, just paying money, and yeah, 180 gold for this plate mail, finally. So yeah, let's sell the Wand of the Heavens, and I'm going to equip my Nymph Cloak for optimal price.
Anything you need, I can likely provide, I assure you.
And let's get it, 10,000 gold. So it's a little bit, but of course our financial situation is pretty good as well, and now it has 100 charges, so it's going to last us until the end of the game.
What is it?
Alright, now we can actually, one more thing. I'm also going to buy these 3 bastard swords, and from Minling I'm going to buy this Detranion's Balor Ale. Do you remember Detranion, and the famous ale brewer, I guess, that we have met in Baldur's Gate? In the Blushing Mermaid.
Yes?
Well, here is his product once again, and it's going to be useful in a quest that we're going to obtain in a second. So let's check out some of these people here. This book merchant is just right now we can just talk about business being slow, of course, with all of the troubles in the area, but he's slightly relevant in chapter 6 much later in the game, and I'm going to elaborate more on that once we get to it that point. And here's Travor. He tells us about Vincenzo, the proprietor of this inn, being a pretty good fellow, allowing him to sleep here. But anyway, if we ask him about the killings, he actually has some good info. Because he says that he has seen black shapes moving in the nights like living shadows. That's actually better info that most of these people can provide us. Yeah, these people don't really have too much to say. Now, this container here is actually trapped. Oh, and we get the nice tavern music from Baldur's Gate 1. And here we have another Wand of Fear with a pathetic amount of charges. I'm just going to have to get rid of that. Here, yeah, this needs opening as well.
Yes, it will be done.
Alright, and here's Vincenzo and his little assistant. Apparently Vincenzo's real name is Vince. But he wanted to appear a little bit more fancy, I guess. And now he is known as Vincenzo. Never mind the boy. He's an ignorant lout I took in out of pity. A simpleton who doesn't know his place. Willet, the stable boy. Anyway, we can ask him about the killings as well, and he is a big supporter of the Umar theory. And so, of course, I'm just going to click through it. Of course, feel free to pause. He's pretty passionate about that story, about Umar being back. And apparently his family has lived here for a long time. And the story goes that Umar basically just seems to return to the area every 100 years. And she captures some people, tortures them, and once her bloodthirst is sated, she just goes away. And also he's going to mention a group of wizards that have come to the village some time ago, some years I think ago, trying to investigate that legend of Umar. And apparently he's going to say that he was able to obtain a journal of one of the mages. And we can actually get it. He says that he has a copy or two, but in the back we'll see that he has a lot of those prepared. He intends on becoming rich someday off of that story. And this is just a reference to the Blair Witch Project. Here's Umar Witch Project. Yeah, so of course feel free to pause and read for yourself. There's not much to it. I'm just going to drop it here. And yeah, in these containers here, there's going to be a lot of these journals prepared. But there's also, oh yeah, these potions that I would like. And I think that's it from that here. Yeah. Okay, so now we can get to some business.
What is it?
We're going to pick up some minor quests here.
Certainly.
First one is going to be from a cowled wizard, actually, living here.
Speak. I am listening.
Here is Dar, wide a long face. My love is Colette, and her father is a wizard of no small power, and possessed of considerable bias against me. His name is Germin, and I understand he intends to use Colette as a bargaining tool for some wizardly endeavor of his own, against her will, I imagine, although I've had no chance to ask her opinion. I know she wants to go with me, I know it, but her father will have none of it. He intends to go to great lengths to keep us apart. And he doesn't want us to use violence, and he says that talking with Germin is not going to be not going to yield any results, and he's right in that. But anyway, so here's Germin, the cowled wizard representative, I guess, for the area. A licensed cowled wizard for this region. And we can ask him some questions here. I have far more important things in mind for Colette than that fool Dar. She'll get over her childish infatuation, I assure you, and Dar will be long gone. If I had known you were going to plead the boy's case, I would at least have magic missiled you upon entrance. Anyway, you can ask him about the killings. Why doesn't he, like, help the village? I don't do anything about it, because I don't want to do anything about it. I have more important things to do, and until the cowled wizards tell me otherwise, I'll not involve myself. There was also a dialogue option that seems to be gone now, about asking where cowled wizards keep their prisoners, and he doesn't care about that. He doesn't know anything about that, and he says that even if he knew, he wouldn't tell us, of course, because it's not our business. So anyway, to progress the whole thing, we have to ask him about this thing he's making, the golem back there. Ah, glad that you asked. This, my friend, is nothing other than a golem of stone, a fine piece of magical craftsmanship, if I do say so myself. Few other mages have made the attempt, you see. This type of golem is quite powerful and dangerous, but I am more than skilled enough to control it. Once it's complete, I'll have an excellent servant, and something to keep an eye on my daughter and that foolhardy beau of hers while I am away. Trouble is, I'm missing one of the crucial ingredients, the blood of a mimic. I'd paid handsomely for some, in fact. And, yeah, what's a mimic? It's a vicious little creature, a shape-changer, that likes to attract and kill adventurers by looking like a treasure chest or similar objects. They generally exist in dungeons, ruins, and similar places. And so, yeah, we'll make an attempt to procure some of that kind of mimic blood for him.
What is it?
We can talk to Colette, but she has nothing to say, really.
Hello there.
Yeah, she loves
Yes.
Dar, but, of course, Germian opposes that kind of idea. Here I'm just going to quickly, like, talk with these people from the area, and of course they are going to share their opinions about the troubles. And there are some good arguments made by, you know, people here and there. He's also going to mention his daughter Katya, I guess, apparently thinking of some fanciful stories, but it's actually going to end up the case that this child here, Katya, actually knows the truth here. She's going to have the best insight, the most like correct insight, I guess, about the matters that are going on here. Yeah, so she thinks it's the wolves and all that. I'm just going to click through. We've basically here we have heard about all of these things already. Gross.
Who are you?
Alright, anyway, let's talk to Katya now.
You're a stranger.
And she has a good story, apparently, that she was bringing some cows through a path that her mother actually advised her not to use because of the danger. And she passed by the ranger's cabin. Mirella's always been nice to me. She gives me candies and all that. When I passed by it, though, I saw the big black shadow coming out of her cabin, and it was leaving a big trail of red stuff, which looked like blood. It was so big and scary, it looked like a wolf monster. I was so scared for Mirella, so I went and told me Ma and Pa, but they didn't believe me and told me to stop telling stories. And yeah, that's kind of the best insight. All right, here let's do a kind of a minor funny quest here.
Wow, an adventurer.
So there's a group of these teenagers, I guess, that want to become adventurers. Yeah, so this guy wants to be a ranger. Neller wants to be a great warrior like his dad. I think Neller is the son of Nelek, the guard, that we've talked to first when we arrived. Anyway, they're basically going to ask us to buy them some bastard swords and some ale, so they can go on adventures and gain some experience, I guess, and level up. Anyway, so there's going to be a different follow-up here, depending on what we elect to do. Of course, we can not go with any of their wishes and just leave them alone here, but we can either just buy the swords or just the ale or both. And I think the funniest outcome is if you buy both the swords and the ale. So I'm going to agree to their request. They actually give us some gold. And actually, if you like don't come back with any news to them for like a day, they're actually going to accuse you of being a thief and then demand their money back, which you can keep. You can threaten them and they're going to run away, or you can give the money back to them. But anyway, we of course already have the swords and the ale. So they're going to be really excited about the prospects of fighting with these swords and consuming the ale. So they're going to be gone. And there's going to be a follow-up later. Some time has to pass for a follow-up to appear, but you know, this is not our last visit to this area, so we're going to see it eventually, what comes out of it. Anyway, here is Jeb, which is kind of a similar name to Neb, or Old Jed from Icewind Dale. But anyway, we have to be nice to him in order to obtain a piece of information from him, because if we threaten him or like mock him, this is just going to cut the conversation here, and he actually is pretty funny. Like, don't know how you fools can wander around in all your metal get-up in this heat. So for a few golders, he can tell us a story. And he's going to tell us about the farmers, the Henrik couple. His daughter was a tomfool, tin-head, adventuring type just like you, died young just this past season. You still with me? Not long after she died, a bunch of other tin-heads came looking for her, said she had something of theirs. Old Henrik just took him outside and pointed to her grave marker and told him to get the hell off his land because they had something of his too. So that night I heard a ruckus in his hen house. Looked out the window, and there he was trying to stuff something down the gullet of one of them chickens he keeps out back. Draw your own conclusions, friend, but I'm thinking there's something a tin-head like yourself might like buried deep in the guzzard of one of them cluckers. Now, clear off before you bake in them there ovens of honor you got on you. So yeah, when you're nice to him, he's going to tell you that story about these chickens that this couple has. And basically, like, if you have that, you basically require that information to resolve this situation in a good way that I'm going to do in a second. But, you know, if you already know the game, you can just, like, kill the chickens, and in one of them there's going to be a certain jewel. And if you start attacking the chickens, Anna here is going to, you know, initiate a conversation, telling like, "What the hell are you doing? You know, why are you killing my chickens?" And then you have a conversation option that says something like, "Lady, this is between us and the chickens. Stay out of it." And then they're just going to leave, you know, seeing that you've massacred their chickens. But anyway. They actually don't have anything to say about the murders, but we can of course ask them about the chickens, and we can offer to buy the chickens from them. They're not for sale. So yeah, we of course know that there's something valuable in one of them. I suppose it's best not to be hanging onto it any longer. Eventually someone will come and take it from us. So yeah, we can offer. I'm just going to go with the highest price. Let's be fair about it. And actually, the jewel is like effectively worth more than that. I think you can sell it for about the same price or more, but it's useful in a certain crafting process. Aye, 'tis more than fair. This will pay for a fine headstone for our daughter and more. A better tribute than a hidden gem in a chicken. Take it then. You've been more than kind. So this is kind of like the good way of resolving the whole issue.
Well met and welcome.
Now she should leave. Okay. So now we have a Baldur, which is a unique gem used in the process of upgrading that Horn of Valhalla that we have. And now that when we're back in Athkatla, we're going to upgrade it twice, actually, because we have a diamond and we have that Baldur now. So we're going to be able to do both of these upgrades and have the best version of that item to summon a 9th level berserker, which is, you know, it depends on the situation. I believe they have a berserker rage type of ability that makes them immune to a lot of effects, but you also lose control over them.
What is it?
So yeah, it's just you know, an item with some allowing you to summon a cannon fodder type of creature. But of course, since this is a completionist playthrough, you know, I'm of course going to do all of the crafting, all of the items, like I said. I'm talking about this one. Now it's silver, and it just summons a 5th level warrior. When you upgrade it to a bronze version, then it's a 7th level, and then on the max, the best version, it's a 9th level guy. So anyway, here we have Madolf, the leader of these beasties here. And he's going to explain that they are deserters from the great army of Scythilis in the south. And I believe there's a mistake here that the developers of Baldur's Gate 2 made, or it was changed later in the Forgotten Realms lore, but I've read that I think it's a mistake, because basically also some of the town criers in Athkatla can sometimes have this piece of information telling about an ongoing, like, rebellion, they call it. There's basically something called the Sothilician War in the Forgotten Realms universe. And basically what this is all about is that there's an ogre mage, Sothilis, not Scythilis, and his mate, Sirvisnea, and they basically lead a army of kobolds, goblins, giants, and ogres, and some worshippers of Cyric against the nation of Amn in the south. And basically the thing about it, so, you know, the name is I guess maybe it was different back then, and then it was changed, but also the timeline doesn't match up with Baldur's Gate 2, because the action of Baldur's Gate 2, as you will see when I open the journal in a second, it takes place in the year 1369, and the action, the events of Baldur's Gate 1 take place in 1368, but this Sothilician War took place between 1370 and 1374, so it shouldn't have been a thing yet, basically. But yeah, he explains that there are deserters from that army. They don't want to kill, they don't want to be engaged in a war, they just want to be left alone and live in peace. And he's going to reveal that these monsters, these mysterious monsters, also took some of his fellows. Yeah, some turn up killed, skin missing, some bodies vanish too. Madolf know who killing us. Yeah, so he's worried as well. And maybe wolves, maybe bad magics. Nobody see what kills fellows. Comes at night though, maybe is the shadows. And he's going to offer us kind of a counter proposal, I guess. Or maybe not counter proposal, there wasn't really a proposal yet coming from Minister Lloyd, but basically he's going to offer a deal to the village that he wants us to bring word to them that he would offer to protect the village with his fellows if they would just leave them in peace, don't call any knights to attack them, and allow them to trade with the village every once in a while. Yeah, just want peace. You tell villagers maybe that Madolf and fellows will protect the village, protect from orcs in mountains. Humans let us stay then, and no cold nights. Maybe let us come once in the moon, and to trade for food and goods. And so we're going to bring that message to Mr. Lloyd, and here it's always a random loot goodie. Not much this time, but anyway. Now is the time for a little bit of action. We're going to visit a certain cave, and we're going to obtain that blood of the mimic. Time flies when you play Baldur's Gate, man. Like, I've had so many more plans for this episode, and time is running out already. So anyway, here is going to be the mimic, and there's no point in like leaving anyone. Well, I guess I could leave someone outside, but it basically has like a really long-range hold type of ability that it's going to use. And everyone's saved against it except Jaheira, but she is immune to hold effects thanks to her amazing Shield of Harmony. So everyone's operational. No one was affected by that, and it just dies easily. And now we're going to have the blood of the mimic. Also, they give us a diamond here, and some more bullets +1. Yeah, so here's Mimic's blood. We're going to be able to give that to German in a second. And here there's a chance of some Umber Hulks. Yeah, here they are. So I'm just going to have Jaheira lead the way, because she is immune to confusion, thanks to her Shield of Harmony again. And I'm just going to support her a little bit from range.
What? Yes, I see.
I shall go for you. Point the
Guys,
very well. I hear you.
thought I told you to use your ranged weapon, but you must have misclicked.
I am willing.
What is it? Without doubt.
Alright. There's a little stash here with some minor goodies.
Speak.
So now we're going to proceed a little bit further into the wilderness and finally come up on that cabin of Valygar
What is it?
that we've learned about some time ago.
Let us speak and be done
Here's
with
Derek, one of Valygar's ranger friends, and you know, we're not working with the wizards, so he's just going to leave. If you're more aggressive, he's going to fight you with two of his buddies. Oh no, let's save that groundhog. Oh no, you you cruel bear. What did you do to that little poor groundhog? He had to be punished for that. Anyway, so here's that cabin. And here we will find Valygar, and he will tell us his side of the story with the cowled wizards, and generally what's up with all that.
Oh, there. More cowled ones are their servants, no doubt. By the gods, I swear you'll not live to take me to that damnable sphere.
So he mentioned the sphere, the planner sphere. Perhaps you do not serve the wizards, and I have hidden myself so desperately only to be set upon by chance. Yeah, so he mentions that the planar sphere appeared suddenly in the slums of Athkatla several weeks ago, which you may have seen. My ancestor, the necromancer Lavok, built that sphere and disappeared with it over 5 centuries ago. It has not been seen since, until its reappearance. I have no desire to meet my ancestor, and even less desire to help the cowled wizards, who believe my body is the only key to enter the sphere, alive or no. And this is actually true. You need Valygar to be in your party, or you need to kill him and have his body in your inventory to be able to open the door to the planar sphere. They tried to force my cooperation, and I was forced to defend myself and flee. I had hidden away here. Successfully, I thought, until you came. So the cowled wizards obviously are interested in that planar sphere. They want to get inside, and so they tried to force Valygar to allow them entry. Right, we can ask about Lavok. Yeah, it has been a long time, but for all I know, time may work differently when traveling the plains. As for his immortality, well, my ancestor has extended his life before, but that is a different story. I am the last of the Korthala line. That may mean little to you, but it means plenty to Lavok. When Lavok left Athkatla in the sphere, he was already many centuries old. Lavok extended his life by stealing the bodies of blood relations. If he yet lives, you can imagine my concern. This is also why my blood may allow entrance to the sphere. And so he actually wants to return to the city and enter the sphere. That way I will know if Lavok lives. If he does, we can exterminate his ghoulish existence once and for all. So first he says that he has no intention of meeting Lavok, and now he wants to actually see if it is Lavok himself. But yeah, I guess ultimately his plan does make sense, but I guess the writing could have been a little different. Yeah, you are more than welcome to whatever lies within the sphere, such as magical treasure and anything else of Lavok's. None of it interests me in the slightest. Alright, so basically, from what he has told us, you know, seems legit. Can say that it's okay. He has already said that. Yeah, so we will allow him to join. My family swore an oath long ago to kill Lavok should he ever reappear, and perhaps I shall be able to fulfill it. My heartfelt thanks at your offer of aid. Of course, we can mention Imoen, that we want to rescue her from the clutches of the cowled wizards, and of course he is going to be elated when it comes to confronting cowled wizards. If you wish to have my help in exacting a toll against the cowled wizards that stand in your way, you'll hear no complaint from me. Alright, so we will visit that planar sphere soon. Some comments from our party members. But first let's examine Valygar here. So finally we get a companion that actually has some experience. He's going to be level 10, I believe, with 800,000 experience. So let's level him up. Yeah, so he gets some significant increases in his different stats. And he already has proficiency points spent pretty well in whatever he needs. If we were to keep him for longer, like if we wanted to have him be like a permanent companion, I would probably level him up in some kind of a blunt weapon, so he could dual wield it and have a blunt option. But since he's not going to stay with us for too long, I'm just going to give him, I think, 1 point in longsword. He might get to use Daystar perhaps. In some situations we'll see how everything works out. But anyway, he is a Stalker, which is a ranger kit. And I like it. It's a very interesting one, fun to play. Basically it has better stealth. It can backstab, actually, although at a lower backstab multiplier. And it also gets access to mage spells of level 3. So he doesn't have access to level 3 spells right now. He would have to be level 12 for that. But the downside is that he cannot wear anything heavier than studded leather. And this is a really cool kit for the ranger. He still is a ranger, of course, which means that he still has his favored like racial enemy, which for him is a golem. He still has the warrior Thaco. He still gets half of an attack at level 7 and at level 13. He can still specialize in weapons. So, you know, he has 2 proficiency points in various weapons. He's also gets the 2-weapon style, 2 points for that for free for being a ranger. He still gets access to those low-level druid spells, but, you know, in his case, in a stalker's case, this is better because, of course, you know, low-level druid spells are pretty terrible, but at level 3, he gets those arcane spells, minor spell deflection, that can help protect him against some stuff, but primarily haste, which can then free up some level 3 space on your mages, where, you know, they have plenty of good spells to memorize at level 3, and you can have your stalker have some haste spells memorized, and yeah, offer that kind of cool stuff. And also when it comes to rangers, you know, if we're talking about a plain ranger, they can stealth, but it's usually not used too much, because that stealth, you know, can allow you to just scout around, but that's pretty much it. You can't really do much with it other than just scouting around, I guess. And you also probably will keep your ranger in the heaviest armor available to you. So it's kind of inconvenient to like keep switching, like de-equipping that armor to stealth around and then re-equipping. But with a stalker, you know, it's cool that you know, he also can backstab, open a fight with a nice backstab, with his, you know, warrior Thaco and specialization in a chosen weapon and all that. And his stats are pretty good as well. He has max dexterity, decent constitution. His strength is a little problematic, but, you know, there's so many ways of fixing strength in Baldur's Gate 2 that it's not a big deal at all. Actually, in the planar sphere, there's one item that is going to improve his strength. And that's kind of the case in a lot of different quest lines that these NPCs are involved in. They usually have some items that are good for the NPC in question. So yeah, I like Valygar in general when it comes to his gameplay mechanics, I guess, and his personality is not too bad. A complaint can be made that he is pretty boring and very one-dimensional, because he is very distrustful of magic and basically dislikes it very much, and pretty much everything he says somehow involves that. And unfortunately, even the mods that attempt to expand on him just provide you basically more of the same. Just more conversations about how he hates magic and how he distrusts spellcasters and stuff like that, but he's a good enough fellow. Anyway, he also has some special gear. He has this nice katana. That's a +2 enchanted katana that gives him a little bit of a boost versus slashing attacks when it comes to his armor class, but most importantly, it provides you with that bleed property, similar to Nasher, which is really good for interrupting mages. and he also has a special armor with a pretty good armor class, some resistances and immunity to charm. And you can also buy, in Adventurer's Mart, you can buy Egger's hide, which is kind of a similar armor, but it gives him an immunity to confusion, which is better. And then you can give him a helm of charm protection, for example. But anyway.
What is it? It will be done.
So now we have Valygar. Now we're going to be able to have access to that planar sphere. And we're going to get to it pretty soon.
Certainly.
He has a spear
Yes,
+1 over there.
direct me as you will.
And yeah, so now we are ready
It will
to
be
pursue our next big quest. But first let's visit Germin and give him his mimic blood.
done. What is it? Certainly.
You need something, stranger.
Well done, girl, well done. I don't know how you found it, but here it is. I took the liberty of digging out that sword earlier, and just in case. Rather prophetic of me, don't you think? It was just collecting dust anyway. So here we go, and well earned, I might add. He's going to give us a very useful short sword. Now, all I need to do is add this to the golem, and he will be complete. Finally, I will be able to leave this in peace, and be assured that Colette will not be molested while I'm gone. Okay. But the golem is going to be pretty unresponsive. What is wrong here? Stay back. Back, I command you. Alright, so the golem is going to be hostile.
I'm busy, okay? I'm busy. If I must.
Death shall take you. Hello there.
I'm pleased
And it's over
you
already.
brought me when you did. This group does good things.
And Dar also barged in. Colette, what has happened? Oh, Dar. One of my own creations turned on me, boy. It seems I am not so wise and powerful as I had first thought. And perhaps I have been foolish in some of my other decisions as well. Dar, boy, if you promise to take care of my daughter and protect her, if you still want her, I'll not stand in the way. So yeah, happy ending, indeed. Thank you, Germin. I shall take excellent care of Colette, you can be sure.
You need something, stranger.
My daughter is now gone. I think I will leave myself for a while and consider what I have done. So they leave, and we can actually loot his house for some
Yes.
goodies.
Without doubt.
He has some cool scrolls, and he has some cool potions on that shelf on the left here. Nice, another potion of clarity, fire resistance, and genius.
I am ready.
And here we have that short sword, Ilbratha, and it allows us to cast a mirror image once per day. It's a bit of a shame that it doesn't have like 2 or 3 charges, but still, it's going to, like through that short sword, you can provide this nice mirror image buff to classes that normally wouldn't have access to that kind of thing. So fighters or thieves, and it's going to be perfect for Kirinai to provide her with a nice defensive buff.
Without hesitation.
Alright, and now we're pretty much finished, I think, with everything that I wanted to do in Imnesvale for now. We're going to be back later, once we want to actually investigate Mirella's cabin and see what we can learn over there. But yeah, this is going to be it for this episode, and in the next one I think we're going to visit the planar sphere. Or perhaps, I'm still undecided, maybe we're going to do the planar prison first. We'll see how that goes, but in any case, I thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.